Okay, so I figured with all the Python stuff I've been posting lately, I should probably make a tutorial beginner series sort of thing to get people starting to learn Python rather than just jumping in on the sort of the more advanced stuff I've been doing. I don't think it's advanced at all, but it's not beginner level. I know that when I was a beginner I probably wouldn't have understood anything I've been doing lately, so I figured I'd show how I learnt Python and just go through that in a tutorial series because I was going to start doing some of the later challenges anyway. So the way I learnt Python was through a website called projecteuler.net. So if you don't know what that is, this is the website right here. So it's basically just a series of different challenges that you can do to learn coding. So the first one, for example, which we're going to do today, is just to find out what the sum of all the natural numbers are that are multiples of 3 or 5 below 1,000. So you can see I've already done this, there's the answer right there. But we'll do it again today just to show the exact code of how you do this. And I think it's quite an easy challenge to start with. So how I learnt all these was I had a friend who I could just ask if I was stuck with syntax or whatever, but for the most part I just googled. If I needed to learn something new, I'd just Google how to do and then whatever it was I was trying to learn. And generally Stack Overflow generally already has a question very similar or the same as yours, so it's really quite easy to do. It's really quite easy to learn that way. So yeah, if that's what you're interested in, feel free to do it like that. Or if you want to go along with what I'm doing, then watch these videos. It's going to be hopefully quite a lot of them. I'm going to try and go through as many of the problems as I can on Project Euler, particularly all the ones I've already done, like I think it's like the first 25 or so that I've already done, and then a few that I haven't done as well. So yeah, let's have a quick read through this and then let's get started. So hopefully you understand what it's asking. It's asking for the sum, so what is the total if you add them all together, of all the multiples of 3 or 5 below 1,000, and it gives you a little example up here if you didn't know what that means. It gives you the example up to 10, so all the numbers up to 10 that are multiples of 3 or 5 are 3, 5, 6 and 9. The sum of those numbers is 23, and then it gives you the question. So let's get rid of this and let's start coding. So if you don't already have Python, this isn't the video for you. There's plenty of videos already on that, so I'm not going to go through it, but just go get yourself Python, get your own editor of whatever sort you want to do. I'm personally using Sublime. If you want to use Sublime with me, feel free. I'm using command line to run the scripts, and yeah, that's how I like to do things. If you want to do things through idle, feel free. It's just as easy, to be honest, if not easier. I just personally have already been used to using command line, and that's how I've always done things, so I prefer to just keep it like that. So first thing you want to do, create a file, name it .py so it recognises it as a Python file, and then let's get coding. So first thing we're going to do, we're going to define our main function. I like to call main as the sort of the overarching function that will be called at the bottom of our script. So somewhere down here we're going to call main, and then this will actually run our function. I'll get into what Python will actually see in a minute and like the order of things that will go through. For now I'll just code it and then we'll talk about how it's done, because this is a really short one. I'm not going to talk about how to do this line by line. So what we're going to do is we're going to need a total, so total equals 0. We're going to also need a number, number to sum 2. That's going to be 1,000 in our case, and then we're going to do for I in range 1,000 if I mod 3 is equal to 0, or I mod 5 is equal to 0, total plus equals I, print total. Right, so what this is going to do, we've assigned total 0 because we don't know what the total is yet. All we know is it starts at 0. We want to start counting from 0. We've put in a value of the number we want to sum to, so this is just so we can change this. So say if we wanted to change the the number we were summing to 10,000 instead of 1,000, we easily could just by changing this number. Sorry, this range here should be number sum to. You could just not have this line and then just put the 1,000 directly in here if you only want to solve this problem, but I like to keep things sort of open-ended where you can put your own numbers in. It's quite interesting. I've done it with a few and learnt a few things. That's how I personally like to do it when I went through, so I may as well do it like that again. So yeah, I just set the value equal to this variable right here. Now this next line, if you've not seen for loops before, what for loops do is for loops will loop over some sort of they loop over a generator. So I won't get too much into this because there's no need for you to know all this yet if you're just a beginner. But basically, if you want to have something iterate over a value, so we want to iterate up to all the numbers up to 1,000, so we want to check every number. The easiest way to do that is to use a for loop, so for I in range, and then of the range that you want to go up to, so we want to go up to 1,000. So what this is going to do, I'm just going to comment out this line here, so use hashtag to comment if you don't already know that. I'm just going to print I, and we're going to drop this number down to 10 just so we can see what it's doing. So now, in case you don't know, to run scripts, you can just call them in your command line like this, as long as you're already in the working directory. So this folder right here is where this file's actually saved. So just run it. If it's saved as a .py, it should recognize it and run it. But apparently mine, I've mistyped. It's 001.py. So you can see right here what our function's done. It's printed out 0, 1, 2, 3, all the way up to 9. And it's printed out 0 again because we printed out the total down here. I'll just do this again just so that doesn't confuse anyone. So what you can see here is it's looped over and it's called this print function. You can see 10 times. Here's the first time, the second time, you've got to remember it's 0 indexing, so 10 times. And it's printed out I. So you can see what this function here is actually doing. It's just changing I, it's iterating I up. Through all the values up to and including up to and not including the number to sum to. So you can see 10 wasn't actually printed. All the numbers up to 10 were printed. So if I get rid of this print statement now, hopefully you understand what that does. We can read this next line. So what this is going to do is if I mod 3 is equal to 0, so a double equal is checking for equality. So is I mod 3 equal to 0? Whereas the single equal that was up here is an assignment, so this is setting total equal to 0. That's the difference between single and double equals. You need to remember that, that's quite important. So this % sign is mod. If you don't know what a mod is, that's basically division with the remainder. So if I was 6, we do I minus 3, and then we do that minus 3 until we get to a number that's between 0 and 2. So we'll get either 0, 1 or 2 for mod 3. Look it up, it's a mathematical function mod. It's quite simple, you just take away the value until you get a value between 0 and the value you're taking it away. If that makes sense, that's probably not helped at all, but yeah, that's what mod does. It just checks for division with the remainder basically. So if the remainder is 0, we know that it's divisible by 3, that's why I've done this. This will check if it is divisible by 3. Or if it's divisible by 5, so this is the exact same thing, just with a 5. So if either of these return true, then we're allowed to enter this if statement. And if we've entered this if statement, we know we've got a number that is divisible by 3 or 5, therefore we're going to add it to the total. If we don't have a number that's divisible by 3 or 5, then we don't do anything. You'll see there's no like extra stuff in here, like right here. So all we'll do here is we'll go to the next value of I and test the next value of I. So if I uncomment this print function now, and we run this, you'll see we get the answer of 233,168, which if I flash this up on screen, you see the answer right here. So we have got the answer right, and hopefully you understand where this came from with this code. This is quite simple. Obviously this is only like what probably took us 5 lines there, 6 lines to print it out, and 7 lines to call this. So 7 lines, And you don't even need all these lines, to be honest. It probably could be done in like one line if you're wanting, but that's not the aim of this series. The aim of this series is to try and explain what I've done, explain the logic behind it. So hopefully this makes sense to you. If it doesn't, let me know in the comments below and I'll try and clarify anything. But yeah, that's it for this challenge. Challenge 2 will be next video, so if you want to see that, subscribe. If you like this sort of video, then leave a like. And thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video.